Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is the Maha Mantra. That's what they call a Maha Mantra.
When you're chanting that, I feel like the most important, holy, sacred message. You know, it's kind of like, well, let me start off with this. I always do this real quick, and we'll get into it. May we harness the lightning for hire. Man is the Lord of his spirit. Something we should always be reminded of. You know, I want to say before anything real quick, brother, you know, these different ways of connecting to the divine, you know, and us doing these videos, we have fun.
Yes.
We really enjoy them. And, you know, it like right now, I'm getting reminded of how important this really is.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the only game in town, brother. It's the only game worth doing.
It is. It's, and once you feel that, you know, I don't know how to word it, spiritual presence, you know, connecting with the high gods, then you will see what's actually real and what is the illusion.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things we're going to talk about today. We always joke about this. We call this raw dogging our videos because we don't have obviously a certain thing that we're going to talk about. We you know, I feel like this is a big problem we both do. People look at the way media is presented, for instance. You know, you can't step out of certain boundaries. You have to stay on this subject, and
can't curse.
You know, we're trying to, you know, put the point across that that's the complete polar opposite.
Yeah. Instead of reading something off of something, just say what we are feeling, you know.
And I want to say real quick, we go off of our mostly personal experiences and try our best to separate from what is on the outer surface and try to look within.
Yeah.
If it's okay with you, I'd like to start off with something, brother. Like I said, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. It's great to be here with you, man.
It is great to be here, brother.
This is our first get together in a week, and it's always great. And it's amazing. It's euphoria. It's getting high. It's very fun.
That it is.
I would like to talk about a lot, like I said, a lot of things, but my research, I done some research yesterday on my day off about a very ceremonious plant, peyote. And I just want to throw this up here because I haven't even talked to you about this yet. So all of these different plants, these psychedelics in particular, they're for many things. And, you know, like, you know, he's had experiences to where he was shown the way things has been in ancient times, the way people lived, and then these villages or, you know, cities being destroyed.
Yes, ruined planets.
And, you know, as you know, humans, we've adapted a lot throughout the years, and there's been so much change, and we're always needing and having to adapt. And that's just one thing. And then, you know, things that one can do for the planet, which is obvious. I feel uncomfortable saying that because that's what people talked about in the 60s, and people...
We gotta get past that.
We gotta get past that.
That's some hippie bullshit. I mean,
we shouldn't have to think of that.
No.
And then on the other hand, another thing, and this is where it gets big, at least it was big for me. I'm sure it's going to be for you too. For some reason, especially peyote, according to the psychedelic book that I was reading, we've talked about it, the God molecule.
Rick Strassman's book.
Okay, so he touched on various psychedelics, and he talked about peyote.
Yep.
And he said that peyote was, he feels, mostly for a lot of things, but mostly for helping one find their I'm just going to word it the way Crowley did, but their true will, like here and beyond. With the beyond, I mean, as we're in this place, we have like a higher self that we can touch base with, and they give us that inspiration that we get sometimes. Yeah. It may be with cannabis or maybe listening to Electric Wizard, but whatever it is, that's the motivation. Like that's a little stream on how to get with aligned. Your higher self aligned.
Yes, sir.
But I wanted to ask you if you've ever known about that. I didn't know about that, about peyote, the ceremonies that's been going on for
a long time. Yeah.
That's kind of what it's, the way I took it.
If Rick Strassman said that, I know he's a very respectable person. That's a very respectable book. It's called DMT, the Spirit Molecule. I don't have any experiences with mescaline, so I can't really say from personal experience, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, these plants can do extraordinary things.
It's strange because the reason I got so shocked about that, because that's what Crowley talked about.
Right. Well, I think a lot of them can really do that. I mean, mushrooms, psilocybin is like very cosmic. It'll show you, everything from any age of time on any corner of the universe. It's like the Akashic records or something. It's like you're talking to like the operators on the other side that will gladly take your hand and show you anything. Mescaline is very interesting to me. I would love to have the opportunity to use it at some point. San Pedro is actually legal, so perhaps I could get my hands on one of those quite easily and extract it. But I probably should have said that. I was just kidding.
We're just joking.
But yeah, that is very interesting, man.
Well, he's brought up some amazing points. You got to think here, every psychedelic experience he had, and this is before I really got very interested in all of these different plants and what they can do for you. I was still, very interested in the revelations that he was having. And I remember one of them in particular, one of his first ones, he talked about this, psilocybin. And by the way, I want to say real quick, it seems to me that psilocybin is, and people don't say this, but it seems to be the main psychedelic as far as me looking at it.
It is. You know what Dennis McKenna said? Maybe even Terrence too. Obviously, Terrence adored the mushroom.
Yeah.
Terrence said
he seemed to be a bigger fan of it than DMT.
In a sense, DMT is more astonishing.
Yeah.
Because it's a flash. It's very short. But psilocybin is your teacher.
Yeah.
It wants to be your friend. It wants to,
even if it gives you tough love.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it will straighten you out. It'll work out any kind of personal things, and once you get past the personal things, then it'll show you cosmological visions, and it'll give you insights into like hyperdimensional reasons for some of the things we go through in the 3D world. It talks to you, and you can ask it questions, and it will answer you. And it loves you, and it knows you more than you know yourself. Dennis McKenna said that psilocybin mushrooms are the perfect psychedelic because they require no preparation.
Yeah.
Take ayahuasca. Ayahuasca, it's an amazing psychedelic brew, but it requires 2 plants and synthesis. Neither one of those plants do anything really on their own. So, you have to like do some work to get that going. DMT, if you need to extract it, you don't have to. I guess there is like ways not to, but it's uncomfortable, like snorting the powder of bark and stuff like that. psilocybin is just right there growing. Just pick it up and eat it, you know, and it's ready to go.
That's big. You know,
And not only that, but the experience that it delivers.
I was reading a book of explaining shamanism not too long ago, and I can't remember that. Actually, this may be where I read about the peyote.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It's either this one or the DMT book.
Okay.
I can't quite remember because now I'm thinking about it. There was some things that I read in this, and it talked about a lot of people have a hard time accessing these certain psychedelics, but you know, with magic mushrooms, you know,
quite easy to cultivate.
It grows everywhere.
It grows everywhere, and it's quite easy to cultivate.
And you know, but with peyote, I'll finish what I was going to say with that. All of these plants, you know, would help with the true will. You know, but for some reason, there's the way I take it, certain things with these certain plants that help with different things more than others. But overall, psilocybin it was the package deal, the way I took it. I mean,
and I want to say this too, a couple things here. You know, I think a lot of people get into occultism and magic and psychedelics at first as a kind of tail feather.
Yeah.
You know, as a kind of, oh, I've seen beyond the veil.
That's exactly why I got into Anton LaVey,
exactly,
Satanism.
or this, you know, maybe somebody will take up magic.
Different.
Exactly, be different than the culture, you know, and be more edgy, you know. Okay, and a lot of people will take on magic, you know, at first, to maybe accomplish some of their 3D desires. But as you go deeper into it,
gets you in there.
Listen to this. You know, like Crawley's book, Magic in Theory and Practice. A lot of people like that book because it's, you know, it's about magic and it's a pretty comprehensible book about it. But that's a small portion of a much larger book. You know what the beginning of that book is about? Mysticism. Mysticism is what you will touch when you go deeper into it, because what mysticism is why are we practicing magic?
Right.
You know, and it's to free ourselves from the confines of matter and to free ourselves from the trap that we're in. That's the important part. You know, I mean, we can manifest anything we want, really, but you know, we want to be free ultimately, and so people often get into these things, psychedelics, as a type of tail feather, but eventually it'll draw you in, you know, and then you get on the path.
This is going to sound complex, maybe, to somebody who really hasn't really delved deep into these things. I'll explain, you know, we can only go by what we go, obviously, about. But, you know, I can 100% tell you the truth that I was interested specifically in the beginning in specifically LaVey in his book Satanism.
Yes, sir.
Just because I wanted to break away from the things that were in our certain area here, and I enjoyed going around. I still do with stuff like this, you know, and just, you know, really rambling about why I am the way
and we wanted to piss off
we did
the fools who just blindly grabbed onto this stuff, you know. But
but this is what's interesting. I thought that I was controlling. I'm sure you probably felt the same way about how much I read about these things, or before you know it, this came like my livelihood.
Yes.
And I know that I can't turn back. If I wanted to, I don't want to. I want to go back to the way I was. I can't.
It's like once you see something, you can't unsee it.
And then what you do is start building from there.
Yes, sir.
And
the beginning of this is often
it's kind of scary.
The beginning is scary and it's quite shaky.
Because you kind of feel like and the occult is a lot about reading.
It's a lot of studying, a lot of introspection.
You can go out and try to do some magical ritual all you want to, but if you don't get this down to I'm still doing so much reading and learning.
Yeah, same,
so much.
Same.
And I've
We're in the
recently,
learning process. We're not awakened
yeah,
beings at all.
I've recently just started doing little
Mhm.
microscopic things, nothing to get anything or
And
anything like that. I'm
even
just cleansing.
yeah, even cleansing and purification and chants,
Yeah, chance as
even
well,
that's kind of
breathing.
simple stuff, but even that
Oh,
is incredible.
it's if that's
It gives you a
all that
taste of it.
you really accomplish, just say,
Yeah.
then you've accomplished a great deal.
And then, I've never experienced this myself, but like raising Kundalini, you hear a lot of yogis talk about that. Yep. You hear Ram Dass talks about that. And Kundalini is like this serpent that is coiled at the bottom of your spine. And through certain exercises, certain breathing exercises and meditations, the way Ram Dass describes it is absolutely insane. It starts to crawl up your spine and you can feel it so definitively. And it's like kind of like, oh my God, I would never have expected this to happen. Like, the further you go into it, you will definitely encounter things that, you know, are not culturally sanctioned at all. Um, and, like I said earlier about magic, and a lot of people want to start out trying to accomplish some of their 3D goals, but the more you go into it, the more you want to use magic as a catalyst to liberation. A catalyst to liberation, because we are in some sort of strange matrix, in which we've incarnated into, and we all have these patterns. You think of a mandala, and there's all kinds of different mandalas, and there's these patterns, and we all in our souls we have these patterns, and we have our own karma to work through. And that's where we start. We start by taking care of our personal things. What are you doing that may be wrong? How are you treating people badly? Are you treating your body badly? Are you consuming the filth of the culture and clouding your mind? And the more you start to perfect yourself, and you start to feel lighter. The
really
more you
do.
go on, you start to feel lighter.
And
death is not so heavy anymore.
That's so true. Another thing as well, not only do you feel this weight lifted off of you, but you start to not worry about the mundane things, the things that just,
Yep.
I mean, a little bit, there's
Right.
always going to be a little bit of certain things,
Right.
but
if there was
it starts to go away. It
yep,
really does.
if there's 100 planes over top of us dropping bombs,
Now that's a little different.
we'd be. I mean, I don't know how I would react to it. I mean, I'd probably just stay here and just take it.
So I want to talk about a few truths real quick, man,
Okay.
that I've really feel like I've touched base with, man. Some of these things we've talked about, but I feel like we got a little more in depth about them. One thing is, and you wouldn't think about this in reading of a kind of like of a diary from, I don't know what his name was. He was a Dalai Lama, like in the 80s.
Yeah.
But he talked
It
about.
might be the same one that's now. I'm not sure though.
I forgot the weight. I'm just going to paraphrase here. Embracing the darkness, embracing the shadows,
Yes,
things that everybody talks about it. And we can say with absolute clarity that, Shiva, or the devil, darkness, the serpent,
the dark face of God,
LaVey, Crawley, all these people who represented that is such a big key in learning these things.
Yes, it is.
Because that's the way things are set up, especially in our country. I'm not sure about other places.
Dualism. This is good, this is bad.
You can't have really one without the other.
You cannot have one.
It's
You
both.
literally cannot have one without the other.
Holy.
How can there be light without darkness? How can there be darkness without light? It's impossible.
It's the sun and the moon. We have to have them both.
Yep.
And that
and incorporating that, incorporating your shadow. Carl Jung talks about this, the dark night of the soul, and and incorporating your shadow, doing shadow work, looking at the things that you've been repressing all your life and shoving into the corner of your mind. We need to deal with these things. there's a quote. I'm not even sure where it comes from exactly, but Ram Dass quotes it. He says, he that, uh, how's it go? He that doesn't see that the prince of darkness is but the other face of the prince of light knoweth not me.
That Ram Dass?
Ram Dass quotes it, but I'm not sure
Okay.
where he quoted it from.
First of all, I want to say real quick, I really think we are touching on some really great things, by the way. It's really good. It's hard to find sometimes words in our language to articulate what we're feeling.
That's something I want to get into as well.
Um,
There's things that remain invisible
mhm.
to us because we simply don't have the words for them.
Yeah.
So we need to work on our language.
Okay, he brings me to a point that I wanted to remember, but it was actually our last time we got together. He was reading me a portion of a book by Crawley. I think it was Magic, Theory, and Practice. And he says something so profound. Crawley, something we read, is that his first book that was dictated to him.
Book of the law.
If somebody was to see that and they pick it up and just kind of flip through it, they're not really. It's unmanifested awareness. Is that the word?
Yeah.
But it starts to manifest after you start delving into it, and that's when these, light bulbs will start to come up. And you know what though? That I started thinking, man, that doesn't apply with just that. All of these magical words.
Yes, sir.
And I kind of think this is where plants come into. This is kind of a plug-in, if you will, and that's all of these things. And man,
it's so
talking about them.
Yes, it's so easy. You can think of your thoughts. Think of your brain as like a snowy hillside, and every thought you have is like riding down it with a sled. It creates a little indentation in it, and so every thought you have, every cultural imprint on your mind, whether through what you're consuming, the media, through your school, all of these things are creating those slopes, and so it becomes easier to just like get into those ruts. So that's why these plants are so important. That's why these plants are so important, because we need to perturb. We need to perturb our normal consciousness.
Well,
in order to, make that hillside clean again, so that we can go one-on-one with reality and not cast this net over it. I was listening to Alan Watts the other day, and he was talking about, how people make this dualism of matter and spirit. That's nothing more but just words. It's not. We confuse words with reality, like the experience of looking at a flower.
Yeah.
We say, oh, that's a flower. That's matter. I mean, that's just the way you're talking about it. Really, it's just you're a consciousness looking at a flower.
Yeah.
That's spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Like we, like when we look at a butterfly or something, we say, oh, that's a butterfly. I know what that is. And just like, but on a psychedelic, you'll look at a butterfly. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is a manifestation of God. This is beautiful. This is a symbol of the transformation of our souls, the metamorphosis of going from a, like the Baphomet, going from the solve to the coagula,
These talks, by the way, brother, make me so ready to just peek into that psilocybin realm.
Yes,
man.
sir.
I really do. I'm not gonna say Ringo. It's one of an inside jokes that we talked about. I really am gonna have you watch me really soon and get into that realm and just. God knows the talks we're gonna have after that, man.
Yeah, this is what I say to people, because I talk about these things a lot. I talk to my girlfriend about them a lot. People talk to people about it a lot, and I say, like, if you had this experience, you would be the same way. There's no way that you can experience the psychedelic experience, and not
Yeah.
talk about it all the time because it's that just paradigm shifting.
And you can feel this kind of stuff. I noticed earlier, on some kava. Kava makes you really just like, oh God, man, like you see things differently. Your music sounds differently. So one of the things that I was thinking about, and I said, we was listening to Wizard, and I said, I'll just mention it whenever we start recording ourselves on the video. Just Extreme Revelations with that paired with kava, by the way.
Yeah.
But it has to do with what we talked a little bit about yesterday. Crawley has some essays, really amazing writings. One of them actually, I want to show you one of them that I found. He was talking about, and it could be from that book. He was a great essay on mysticism, like his definition of it. And he talks a lot about true will, and I want to say this is so important. We're all, that's the whole point of this, game, is finding out what we are actually supposed to be doing, finding our true will. And I want to say this, the way that everything is set up,
is to deter us from that.
It's the complete opposite of what we are supposed to do.
It really does seem like our culture is like consciously has constructed this culture in a way that makes it almost impossible to contact this, because if we have that personal freedom to pursue our true wills, capitalism couldn't happen. They could not profit off of us as they do.
So Crawley himself goes on to talk about it is up to each person when they want to work, when they want to eat, sleep, do drugs, have sex, take walks, read, write, just anything. It's up to you. There's nobody here dictating when you do this, I only have time to do this here. That goes back to everything being set to go against that, your own true will. And I think the most important thing to realize here, people who are using this to control you, you got to get away from those kind of people.
Our leaders, our political leaders, are psychic vampires.
Yes, LeVay talks about psychic vampires. We can't do much unfortunately, about people like our president, the way these stupid laws are.
We can walk away from culture.
We can walk away from it. We can just start. We really can. I mean, being a hermit is probably the way to go. The way things are set up here, as much as possible. Right. Instead of surrounding yourselves with people who's just going to bring you down and wants no part in this. That's because it's sad, but a lot of times it's just gone too far, and some people don't know how to turn away from it, because that's everything to them.
Yeah, exactly. People define themselves.
Turn away from it. It's gone too far.
People define themselves and pride themselves on where they work and how much money they have, and comparing themselves with other people. Oh, I have a nice car. Look at that guy's car. It's an old car.
Okay, this is important. He was just reading me this. It was a holy book. He's got. Oh, you can hear my show real quick. He got this actually yesterday, and we're going to get more in depth with it later. It's got so many amazing things. Monarachi himself was reading this book in a picture that we have in this book. What is the name of this anyway?
Be Here Now.
Be Here Now. And like I said, when I first came over, I was flipping through that, and just this stuff right here, just this will shatter what somebody thinks that this reality really is.
Yes, sir.
One thing, and I didn't look at it yet, but he was telling me that there's a death ritual, like an exercise you can do, and
this is very common in a lot of practices in witchcraft and Buddhism and Hinduism. The death ritual, and it's in a lot of other cultures too. In Sumerian, there's Inanna. She goes into the underworld and emerges. And it's basically getting yourself prepared for the moment of death. Yeah. And in this book, I haven't went too deep into it yet, but in this book it talks about like how you can do it by yourself, and you like lay still, and you visualize yourself dying and decaying, in India, they will literally, when someone dies, they will just like lay them on the ground, and monks and stuff and yogis will literally just sit there for days and just be there with while they decay.
Oh,
Yep,
wow.
just to get close to that reality that all of us are going to go through.
A lot of these, you know, actual true holy figures, man, these Dalai Lamas that I was
Mm-hmm.
reading about, man, that we need to seek out those kind of spiritual teachers. If there's
Mm-hmm.
any way to meet with these people and have them administer
Mm-hmm.
uh, the psychedelics for us or
Yeah.
whatever it is. I mean, we obviously, you know, in a safe environment with
Mm-hmm.
somebody you trust, but if there's, you know, any way possible to get some wisdom off these people,
Yeah.
then that'd be amazing. We're always having to learn something new, and these plants are
Teachers
probably
as well.
the best teachers,
Yeah.
you know. But these people that I was reading about, these amazing, just like I said, really holy, you know, these people have really all the way separated a lot of these monks and these teachers. And a lot of people, and it's unfortunate, has had bad experiences and they have
And they define it
been
by that.
wronged
Yeah.
by somebody.
Because there's a lot of cons out there, you know?
And you have to watch which one you go to. It's like the Beatles, they got into their.
Yeah, that guy was kind of
Yeah,
a
just a
con.
second.
You're all good.
But yeah, John Lennon, you know, they kind of turned him against it for a while.
Yep. And you know, just because there's people out there that con other people by, you know, getting money from them, you know, and they put on this tail feather as if there's some kind of guru or something, but you know, there are some staples um, to genuine spiritual people. You know, they don't want anything from you, um, and and they're often quite jovial and they're funny and they just are. Ramdas described Maharaji like a bottomless pit. You know, there was nobody there. You know, there was no doer. He was just, you know, he was just being. You know, and
You know, getting inspired. That's something. When I was when we was listening to Electric Wizard just a minute ago, I just had the revelation of everybody stays so busy that it's just so easy to go home and start clicking on random videos.
Yep.
You know, but to actually have this perfect alchemy of things,
Yeah.
you know, and oh, this leads me to, I was going to talk about it a little bit later.
Okay.
I think I might get into it now. So I got with him like midway through last week, and I'm like, hey, dude, next time I get with you, I might get a few more cannabis edibles off of you. Because I thought that I was completely out, and I was looking through some things, and if I had to estimate it, I don't know what it is, but I probably enjoy kind of smaller doses of edibles and smoking it.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't know why. Do you know anybody else like that
Yeah.
actually enjoys edibles
Yeah.
more? I feel like I get more out of the experience.
I was doing a lot of edible cannabis pretty recently.
I didn't know I had another one. It was one of those tobacco pouch things.
Okay.
And I think that I just took the whole thing.
Mm.
And I got home one evening, and it was probably 12 milligrams. I think that's, you know, what we sliced them up like that. I've never had an experience like it before. I don't know exactly how to word the euphoria.
Yeah.
But I haven't smoked weed in a pretty good while, and then I was like, this, if I take this, I've been enjoying. Oh God, I can't put into words how much I've been enjoying kava.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I'd done one which I thought was my last edible that I had at the moment. Maybe over a month ago, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
And it was late, and I fell into a blissful sleep, and woke up starving.
Yeah.
You know, in the middle of the night, and sometimes I can't think of things that I want to eat, and that just helps so much with that.
Yes.
But this right here, I don't. This is so cool, but I don't know why I find myself eating things that I normally wouldn't eat. like usually on the later portion
Yeah.
of the cannabis
Oh, dude, food
experience.
is divine
Uh,
in that state.
but I'm going to try to word what I was thinking in that state of consciousness, and that these state of consciousness is what I learned a lot about. And it was a monk that was talking about it. I'll actually explain it really quick and go back to what I was going to say, because I tend to want to ramble about everything at once. But how one of the biggest keys is finding a way to exit this survival state of working, eating, sleeping, having sex, whatever it is. And, we talk about plants a lot. Obviously, using these plants, whether it's on a higher level, psilocybin or cannabis, there's other ways. We talked about it briefly, but doing certain breathing exercises will get you into altered states of consciousness. We was just talking a few minutes ago that reading these holy books, reading stuff about Crowley's writings, magical practices. Um, that's a way of not only altering your state of consciousness, but it's getting high in a sense.
Yes.
But that's what he was talking about. This monk I was talking about, he said we have to be looking for these different ways. If somebody doesn't want to do psychedelics, then you will find something that works for you. I mean, I do think, I couldn't imagine me just not doing psychedelics. I think about it a lot, but I'm waiting for that. It's not something you just jump into. People don't realize that.
Oh my gosh, it's so intense. And
but if you don't do anything else, please do kava.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to.
I love kavas. I'm getting ready to drink this other show, by the way. But going back to that experience, and I was going to text it to you, but I decided to wait and tell you about it when we was recording. That way I can just tell it once and be done. Nothing like spectacular happened. It's just some of the things that I was thinking about. And we talk about this a lot, but to the depth of, 37 minutes has gone by.
That's wild, isn't it?
We use this term, Xing out from the world, and, getting away from everything's here. That was the strongest sensation of that I ever had. And I just can't explain it very much, man. But
cannabis?
On cannabis. I've never felt more like, that's where I got really riled up, actually. By the way, absolutely no type of anxiety. I kind of walked around the apartment for a little bit, just talking a lot, because to me, especially where I haven't done any cannabis for a while, that really got to me. I think this was on Tuesday or Wednesday, man. Whenever I texted you that, I can't remember. And it was like I was actually listening to Electric Wizard, but I wasn't listening to anything at all. It's like I thought of Dope Throne, and I heard it and played the whole song so clearly.
Gosh, dude,
it's so weird in it.
Dude, I really do see cannabis as a magical plant. Like a lot of these other ones, like kava and kratom and the psychedelics. Cannabis, kava, and kratom, they're kind of on the outside of this mandala of higher consciousness experiences. DMT and psilocybin being in the middle. Things like cannabis and kava and kratom more on the outside of it. But oh my gosh, dude! When I don't use cannabis as much right now as I have recently. But when I do it or smoke it, I cannot express.
Oh, it's like amazing.
Oh, it's amazing.
Just like I do with kava.
Yes. The revelations are just unbelievable. Oh, I can't even explain to you. It's like the only way I can really describe it is it raises your consciousness, and you're more aware of things in every regard.
So this is the fun part. What happens next? So as I mentioned, the end portion of that cannabis ceremony, I started getting tired. I looked in the mirror, my eyes looked like really red. Whew. Deja vu.
You do this every time we do a video.
Oh God, David. Brother, man,
Hare Krishna.
we're in a fucking weird place.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand that, then you are living in an illusion. I'm sorry, that's what happened. You do too many shells. I'm sorry, I just feel too damn good right now.
It's all right, man.
But this is when it gets fun. Okay. I knew that I was getting ready to eat a lot.
Mhm.
I was like, there's no way around it. I usually eat kind of smaller portions of meals throughout the day and feel a lot more, because I used to eat so much at one
Dude,
time.
when you eat so much, especially if
just
it's
don't
bad
feel
food, you
good.
feel like shit.
So, in the recent months, that's kind of how I've been, doing things. But I decided that I'd like to do some kava before I decide to
Mhm.
have it. But then
Because you do kava on an empty stomach.
after I mixed up the kava, just one, like we do a regular shell, I started feeling so much euphoria. I just can't put into words.
Mhm.
I felt like I was having conversation like with my wife, and I
Mhm.
felt like I was out here looking in at me
Yeah.
and her. So I took another shell.
Mhm.
10 minutes later, and I started having a little bit of. That's when the little bit of no anxiety, just how we're all fucked in this
Yes,
shell
sir.
that we're
Yes,
in.
sir.
Everybody's fucked, and we're
Shell.
all. Huh?
Shell.
Yeah, we all in a shell, right? I was like, we were, and I told,
Yeah.
I look at her, and for some reason, when I get high on either weed or kava, I start kind of talking like this. Yeah, man, I'm really out there for some reason. Like, but I'm having, like, I might look like an idiot, but I'm having such revelations internally.
Yes, sir.
And but I was telling this to her, and I was really freaking her out. But I said, all of us are already dead.
Yeah, exactly.
But I said, I accept it.
Yeah.
I'm dead right now. You
Yes,
are
sir.
too. Do you accept it?
I am dead. I accept it.
That's what I was actually asking her.
Yeah.
And but yeah, a little bit of that, but it wasn't the top of doom.
Right.
That
And accepting.
it was an accepting doom. And
Dude, we gotta be in touch with that, man. We really do. Because that's the only certain thing there is. That's the great synchronicity at the end of all of our lives, and I can only imagine. But I say that, but I've probably done it a million times. We probably went through that. But here in this ego, we're wondering, what is this exactly? But and dude, look, we are practically talking monkeys.
Yeah.
It's absurd, to think that we can ever know everything. We're not going to. We get glimpses into, we have a nervous system that is, capable of taking in these plants and having these hyperdimensional experiences. We have a nervous system that allows us to think and reason and intuit to where we can be like, this is kind of weird, this life, and that's like the beginning of really is the mystical path, is like questioning, like, what is this, or what should I be doing exactly? Why does everyone follow the culture? Why can I make my own rules based on my experiences? And then you think about death. If you think about death just in a free mind, it's strange, and it can be scary.
Very.
And we're all going to go through it, but I really do think that I think it was Ramana Maharshi or someone, a saint in India. He said something like, his devotees. This saint was like, I'm going to die soon, and all of his followers were like, oh no, please don't go. And then he said, oh, don't be silly. He said, where could I go? I'm just dropping my body. It's like,
brother,
it's like he said death is like taking off a tight shoe.
do you know I think of that all the time?
I do too.
I think of one of us go, where can you go?
Yeah,
I'll raise
exactly.
up the kava glass,
Yep.
and you'll be among me.
There is an essence deep down, and I think we all kind of feel it. Really.
Yeah.
That is infinite. That is tied into this unifying thing, God. Whatever you want to call that, and it is nothing more but our egos and these weird, thought structures that we've accepted that make death scary.
Yeah, it is.
That's the only thing that makes death scary. Death really
We've
isn't.
gotten conditioned to
To think because
You see the skeleton.
Yeah.
You see the big bold lettering.
yeah,
Death,
yeah.
the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
All these things
And
tie
we're
into it.
like, oh man, you know, I have
Yeah.
this, I have these nice cars, I have this beautiful house, and my wife and my kids. I don't want to go, you know. But all of that stuff is temporary, you know. Enjoy it while it's here, but you can't be attached to it. Attachment is suffering, and if you can get into that place where you're just right here, right now, doing what feels necessary from moment to moment, enjoying life, feeling suffering, you know, relieving the suffering that you can, but realizing ultimately that this is a school, you know, this is a curriculum. And if we devote ourselves to truth and we devote ourselves to be free, you know, it's you will learn. You know, if you set your life up like that, you know, you will start to learn. If you go into life with a free mind and you know, you follow your intuitive heart, you will learn things. You know, things will come to you uh in flashes of revelations, and if you start to experiment with plants and experiment with those states of consciousness, then you know, then you'll start to learn things. You know, these plants are teachers. Start to look at the people in the past that really got it. They really got it. Learn from them and
This-
practice every day. You
This
know,
gentleman right here, actually.
Mr. Crawley himself.
So before I get too off topic, because like I mentioned, brother, but yeah, what he just said was spot on. You know, so many options of what we can learn from and better ourselves. We talk about bettering ourselves, not in the way of
Getting more money, getting
yeah.
more successful, more
Yeah.
powerful.
You
That's
know,
not it.
we're talking about the great.
That's
word.
not real power.
But to kind of finish off this really weird situation. By the way, it seems like the Kava dreams. I'm sure I like to do more Kava when I'm with him. That's usually when I try to, you know,
Go deeper.
go deeper with that. But even if I just have a shell or two, you know, on just any random day, that still affects my dreams big time. But for some reason, and kava affects, a lot of people say cannabis does to an
Suppresses dreams.
extent, but if you do it all the time,
That's right.
you know,
That's right. If you don't do cannabis a lot, you might have some
So this is
vivid
what's
dreams.
weird.
Yeah.
That cannabis combined with that kava.
Mm.
I'm just going to really quick, I'm just going to sound like a Down syndrome person trying to explain this strange dream that I had just really quickly. I still think it was more of the kava, but I'm sure that probably added to it. It was actually horrific, but I slept like a rock.
Yeah.
Man. You know, that kava is so good for that. And I guess cannabis is as well.
It is.
But this is so weird. Me and you, I haven't even told him about this yet, was in a bank close to a place we used to live at. And we were just tiptoeing. There was so many horrific, like medieval type traps everywhere. And I was just thinking how close we are to death at this very moment.
Yeah.
And we were just doing everything to not get into these traps. Don't know why we was there.
Right.
Have no idea what this. I feel like it was the bank, the brick bank in that other state.
I know what you're talking about.
That was the bank.
That's interesting. I haven't even thought of that place in a while. That's insane.
But Dad, what I just told you was what it was, and I woke up
resisting death.
So scared.
Yeah.
Like completely horrified by, you know, what I felt in here was, you know, still dark and it's
that state of consciousness, man. That I say this a lot, and it astonishes me every time I experience it. You know, waking up from a dream, and it's 3, 4 in the morning, and I'll get up, and I'll walk around, and that state of consciousness that I'm in, and that type, and that's part of the day, that part of the night, is so psychedelic, so psychedelic. I'm having revelations, like the reality of things are so present. The reality of death, you know, the reality of how screwed up our world is, and the reality of, you know, how we're all pushing away so much, you know. But if we just open up and just and just be honest with ourselves, we can develop into, a higher state.
So those couple of shells of kava we done earlier when jamming to some fucking Electric Wizard, I want to talk a little bit about that, man. I've never been so moved in music. Like, I know I say about I'm getting moved and this is amazing, but that was a completely different feel. And I started having the sensation just so profound. I shouldn't be worried about anything.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to stop me or you from getting together and doing the great work.
No.
Really, what we're doing, and this is the idea of all this, mapping this stuff out.
Yes, sir.
We wake up, and I guess you call it wake up, and we're trying to navigate in this such a strange looking jungle with just people's got stuff, signs everywhere, but they're all wrong, and you learn you can't follow the signs that's predetermined for you, and it's hard to explain, really.
We live in a world of illusion, and we have to navigate through that illusion and start to peel back the layers of conditioning that we've all been subjected to.
And the most important thing about all of this, as far as what concerns us here, is before even going that far with it, finding out our true will, or being the process of finding it out.
And touching base with your true will takes, there's probably many ways that you can do it, but you've got to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be quiet. You have to tune out this culture, tune out to the influences of all of these, powers that are trying to deter us, the media, the powers that be in this 3D world, and all of their agendas. Tune it out and go within, because I really do think that within we know. We know, and experiment with plants and perturb your normal consciousness, and be quiet with yourself, and surround yourself with other people that want to awaken or have awakened, and you will start to get there. I love McKenna's quote. I say this a lot. The shamanic dance under the waterfall. Hurling yourself into the abyss and realizing that it's a feather bed.
Is that McKenna?
Yep.
I wish I said wrong.
Yep.
I love that quote.
And people are so afraid of that abyss, but that abyss is liberation, freedom.
I just want to say real quick, with these fucking shells, I'm going to goddamn space today. I'm out there, man. I fucking love it. But the hell was I going to say? It was about Crawford, actually. Just give me like 1 second. If we have a little moment of silence, then who cares? This is when you guys can light you up a cigar. By the way, 38 specials. I got some last week.
Oh, cool. Do you have some?
I don't have any more, but I'm probably going to get some more today.
Cool. We should smoke our pipe today.
That'd be amazing.
I've been loving.
I can't wait for that.
I've been loving smoking pipe.
I had something really important I was going to say. Just give me a moment.
Okay.
True will. That's what it was about. Make everything awkward. We respect anybody who would take the time to watch our videos, because we really are touching on amazing things. But
I think so.
I just feel like I'm just a goofy ass motherfucker.
We are.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It's because of my self-esteem problems. I look at other people as they are not as, I don't know. As far as communicating with people, I'm not the best at it.
Yes. I
me and him don't really care. I mean, we kind of don't expect nobody to watch these anyway.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
We
feel a responsibility to spread these memes, in defilement towards all the other memes that are being thrown our way. We face big problems.
Remember what I was going to say. Thank you, Kava. See, Kava is actually really good for helping your memory.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna? Rah, rah, rah. I always want to say that for some reason. But, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, harness the lightning for hire. We are the Lord, our spirit. So there was a gentleman I was reading about the other day who was really into the guy who kind of branched off and Wiccanism.
Gardner.
Yes,
Yeah.
this guy was around the 40s when he really got this established. But this was a really amazing gentleman who's this other guy. I don't remember his name, but he wrote a book and he didn't.
Buckley.
I just don't
Okay.
think I can remember his
Gotcha.
name. I think this book was early 2000s.
I think I know it's Raymond Buckley.
Oh, I think it is. Yes,
Yeah,
Raymond.
that guy's legit.
This guy talked about some amazing things I want to talk about. He felt it was, I think that this kind of goes with our true will. We may have a specific branch that appeals to us the most.
Yep.
We
It's
have
a method for getting to God.
for him,
Yep.
Wiccanism. And
Yep.
look, let's just go ahead and just throw this out here real quick. Wiccanism could be one of the
It's
coolest
amazing.
religions of them all, just because of its respect to nature
Yeah.
and plants. It's a
Magic, paganism.
but he done something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
He I guess it all does in a sense, but even more for him, he kind of invited in the kind of shamanism
yeah.
into his practice.
Which is essentially using plants to navigate consciousness, to climb up the ladders of consciousness. That's what shamanism is. And then bringing that back and crystallizing it and using it to free yourself.
I mean, he talked about a lot of amazing things. I got really inspired
Yeah.
reading about him. But his respect for that guy in the 40s, I can never remember his name. He talks about Crawley. He talks
Yep.
about reestablishing the truth
Mhm.
that,
The
paganism,
ancients knew about.
going all the way back to, re-entering all of this stuff again so many years later.
Yes.
And people did not like that. It's weird because it all kind of uncovered like 20th century. All this stuff came back strangely.
What did Terence McKenna talk about? That was one of his biggest points. The 20th century was the archaic revival. You know what archaic means?
First principles.
Archaic means really old.
Yeah.
Ancient.
Yes.
It was the ancient revival, the archaic revival.
It all came back.
Time is like a spiral. It's getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
I mean, look at 1904.
And history. Oh, history. When did history begin? I don't know. When did people start writing stuff down? Mesopotamia? How long ago was that? I don't know. 5,000 years ago, something like that? 7,000 years ago? 8,000? Something like that. That's when history began.
Yeah.
That's when everything started to get fucked up.
Yeah.
History, this is what McKenna said, history is the shockwave of eschatology. The fact that history began is evidence that we're close to the eschaton. Yeah. And now we're at the 20th century was us going back before culture. Yeah.
That hit deep. I've never heard that specific quote, but that definitely hit deep. We're focusing on the wrong things. The things that's being taught. The things that people are preaching to be the truth. The thing that look, let's just take churches in our area, churches of Christianity. The idea of a group of people congregating into a place and having, I guess, fellowship, I mean, that's amazing. But the things that it's based on, and anything that you can't voice your own truths or theories or opinions is wrong. As Crawley said, it's, if you can't think or state what you really feel, even if it's your experiences, then this person or persons is steering you away from your true will. And this is why I got so inspired on the Kava ceremony. We was listening to Electric Wizard. I said nothing can stop this until we go back to the one again, where we was at. Leave this uncomfortable shell behind.
Yeah.
We have to continue to make these videos and to voice our experiences.
Mhm.
And this is, I think, why I've been, as I mentioned earlier, I may have just mentioned it to you, but I've been kind of more riled up than recently. You know, everybody has spurts of, you know, frustration, but sometimes you wake up and you're just sick of everybody being lied to.
Yeah.
And you're being lied to.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, you really are. You
Yep.
know, at
In the
your
most sickest, demented sense.
your job, the schools, what's going on at church.
Yeah,
Look,
being dehumanized.
a motherfucker just passed away the other day, and may I just say, praise Satan. Um, yeah, that it's strange because we had a conversation about him, but that Jimmy fucking perv, whatever his name is,
Schreier?
he passed away the other day.
Fuck yeah, hell Satan.
I was like, fuck yeah. And guess what they played on? I was listening to it on the radio when I
Wow.
found out. They said that what a great man this was. And even though he did get into some darkness, they played his little thing about, I have sinned
No way.
against God.
That was the fakest shit I've ever seen in my
Oh,
life.
God. I got so riled up. And you know what I thought of? And guys, listen closely to this next part. Compare this true freak.
Yeah.
Compare his composure to King Anton Zandor LaVey.
Yeah.
You watch both of these and tell me which one you think is more filled with
Dude,
wisdom.
This is the thing though. People that are Christian, they won't even consider Anton LaVey. They won't even look at him. They won't even look his way. Me and you are free-minded enough to look at him and then look at that motherfucker
when
and
I
see,
heard
you know,
this, there's no word to describe the hatred I have for this guy. I said, you know what? I just heard this on the radio. I need a purification ceremony. So I listened to our minister, which is LaVey, one of them. And I was like, oh, God, he just puts this guy back in his place on the highest level. But yeah, he passed away the other day. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
I was in
real quick, second.
I was in a game shop the other day with my girlfriend and saw a one of his records. And I was like, look at that. And I was explaining to her like who this guy was. Yeah, that's insane, man. He, you know, and that's the thing about Christianity. They don't, they're all about only read the Bible, only read things by other Christians.
How funny is that?
Yeah, how convenient is that? Don't, because look, I feel like it would be reasonable to look at all possibilities and make an assessment based on your experience and the way you feel. But their approach to it is only this. This is the only truth. Looking into LaVey, that would be letting demons into your life.
Look, man, we have really just begun with our research.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to be doing psychedelics together.
Sure.
We've already, been doing things like, cannabis and especially kava, kratom. We're going to be doing, psilocybin together. We're, God knows, we're going to be doing magic together, man.
Yes, sir.
And when you look at things a certain way, you realize that this is where it's at, to really start uncovering even more things. And, when you really just get that type of mentality of no matter what happens, the world may be falling apart on the outside, but we're
doing what we have to do.
Still do what we have to do. And it's, separate from this. All this stuff doesn't matter.
No.
Do you think we, give a fuck about the most popular videos on things right now?
Jesus.
I mean, look, none of this stuff is important. I mean, what's that? I mean, are you taking, look at this.
The cult of the surface.
What kind of momentum, are you taking with you, to your grave?
Yeah. Brain rot music.
They talk about, like, a Christian would point the finger at, by the way, you notice I say that term a lot, point the finger. I get that off that Tool song.
Oh, pointing Oh yeah, it starts with a
I can't-
pointing every
yeah.
finger at me, waiting like a stalking butler.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
Oh, it's amazing. I remember I used to listen to them like middle school.
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
really
yeah.
obsessed with that song in
Yeah,
particular.
man. Oh Lord, Tool is.
We
amazing.
talked an hour and 4 minutes. That's crazy.
Hare
Because
Krishna.
this is flew by.
It really has. It really
I
has.
think we just have so much fun doing it.
We do.
We just love to make all of our subscribers happy. That's what we like. No, you know what?
We're here
we
for the views, baby.
You know, nobody can't say that we're decently dedicated little gentlemen.
I feel very
know,
dedicated to this.
we do. We
It's the only thing that matters, really.
now I will say this real quick. I know I'm going from one thing to another, but I'm going to be. Okay. I want to clarify. You know, we talk about the acceptance of death and this very temporary place that we have no choice but to accept it. This is why people go to
Yeah.
their deathbed with such a freaky experience.
Mhm.
We have it in us, I guess, to always think we're just going to keep on going.
I swear to God,
We do.
people literally think that, and I guess I kind of still think that.
Yeah.
In a way,
In
it's
a
like
way,
it's
I
so
used to
far
think it.
away.
Yeah.
You know, it's so far away.
You know, and that brings me to say this. You know,
I don't feel like I still do.
Yeah,
but who
maybe,
knows?
Maybe once that starts happening,
Right? Yeah,
we're
exactly.
like, oh well, I didn't expect it to happen now.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and that's what needs to remind us of. It could be any time, and let's keep things as
Highly conscious as possible.
as possible.
Yeah.
And look, the sad part about it is, you know, if one of us passed away tomorrow, it's going to really be bad for the ones still here because I can tell you what I'm thinking about this. Well, this fucking sucks. I'm going to fucking be in my head 24/7 without being able to get it out.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's scary. It's
Yeah.
you know, the people that is still left here. That's part of this suffering though, you know.
Yes, sir.
And
Suffering is the flame that burns you into awakening.
the flame will tell the creeper. But no, seriously, that's that I was really inspired earlier. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, and you know, we recommend for sure because we know it's truth. Getting inspired on these things.
Yep.
You know, alchemizing your body with holy gods.
Yes.
Okay, we was watching this Electric Wizard live concert 2001. I could just see him. Just the presence they gave. Look, these guys are not inferior people just guzzling alcohol. And
Exactly.
look, all of these fucking, I'm just going to say, these fucking rappers that people actually like right now, people that I've worked with and stuff like that, think these guys are so cool. These
They're
guys
literally
are
losers.
These are the biggest.
If they did not have millions of dollars for making shitty music, they would literally be losers on the streets robbing people.
And when I compared those kind of people, and we don't even know these kind of people, just a couple seconds, we may hear somebody talk about, but I thought of that during that Electric Wizard concert, and you know, look at let's just compare this real quick. You know, like you have this group of people over here talking about, you know, screwing women and popping pills, and you have
popping zannies.
You know, these group of gentlemen over here that's talking about the wizard in black revealing the truth.
Yeah.
You know, the masters of alchemy. They're talking about all this mysticism.
Yeah.
You know, what's the truth?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what came to me. I
that's
got so inspired
that's
by
the
that.
very surface level, superficial versus, you know, peeling back those layers and revealing what comes forth.
You know, so what we are trying to say is, let's, you know, really start to delve into what's important. And it has nothing to do with making anybody happy. Being a people pleaser, you will end up at the bottom every time.
The slaves shall serve.
You know, and I think it's Crawley himself who actually says that. But yeah, you know, we're just planning to keep talking to each other, bringing new things to the surface, reporting different experiences on plants or readings or otherwise. And we just humbly ask that anybody watching this, or anybody for that matter, will humbly seek out the great work as well.
Listen to your intuitive heart.
We are
quiet yourself down enough to do that.
Oh yeah, he talks about this. A true person on that path will only want the best for their fellow man.
Yep.
We're all figuring this out. You can't get anywhere without love.
And when you're looking at somebody that's being a fucking dick or being a piece of shit, realize that person is not a finished product. Yeah. This is not him at his best state. This is him, and in the middle of that process. So we're judging, something that's imperfect, just like we are. And
that's so true. I didn't want to have to say this, but now I feel that I must. We must reveal the truth. So the real reason we're doing this, you see, as arrogant as this may sound, is the truth. I am Jesus Christ himself, and he is Buddha himself. So there you have it.
We are literally avatars of Vishnu. We have incarnated ourselves to teach the sheep. Isn't that interesting? They're like,
oh, I just looked at it when it's 11111.
Hare Krishna. Cameron, I do that shit all the time, bro.
What are the odds?
I know. Dude, I do that so much.
I
did it the other day, man. Like, I think I was watching Ram Dass, and I had a headphone in at work. I'm not actually supposed to do that, but I do it anyway, because why not?
Exactly.
And I was listening to Ram Dass. I'd listened to him for a couple hours, and then I took it out, and I got done. I went home, and before I went home, I turned the lecture on, and it was on 222. 2 hours, 22 minutes, 22 seconds. That's exactly what it was on as I pushed play. I mean, stuff like that all the time. And I think I think that is totally a symptom of awakening. The universe will start sending you these little messages and these little synchronicities. And it's so interesting.
The Holy Book of Enoch talks about it. Yeah. These synchronicities. Carl Jung's the one who
coined the term.
Yeah. These things are very real.
And the best way to deal with it is to just take it in and take that little nod from the universe. But you don't have to talk about it. Don't look like a schizophrenic person, because
we only talk about it to each other. Right. We don't go out in public.
Because you're risking yourself getting a net thrown over you for that. We want to be wise too, and the popular part of the population are against these types of things. So we gotta be careful and do our work in darkness, honestly.
I always say that so much. And
collaborate with people that are also on your path, on the path.
When he calls me and asks, if I want to come over, I always have this saying. I'm like, all right, I will humbly step out of the shadows and come forth, because that's kind of the way we operate, is in the shadows. Until we get together, we live as reclusive, honestly, as possible. We've mentioned before our views on various social media platforms. The only thing we really enjoy, honestly, is YouTube. There's so much resourceful information there.
And you can go there and consciously look for things.
You really can. I think YouTube's a great
instead of just opening something like TikTok, for example. People will sit there and just scroll for hours, and it's not even something they've looked for. It's just
I'm
there.
Telling you,
it's so weird
that we found on YouTube. That's doing the great work.
Yes.
We have there's people, whoever uploaded a lot of Crawley's stuff, a lot of his actual poetry.
Yes.
Some of his not lectures. There was one on there, but they removed it immediately. But there was a lecture on there. I was wanting to look at it, and whenever I got Wi-Fi again to look at it, it was gone. We should look into that later and see if we can find it. But you know, people uploading the stuff with Terrence McKenna, Ram Dass's channel. These people are doing
Doing the
great
great
work.
work. They are spreading the word of Dharma.
And yeah. Oh shit.
What the fuck, man? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I think I've pretty much ran out of fuel. Actually, I don't really know for sure. I've rambled a lot. I
It's
apologize.
okay, dude. I feel like I've gotten basically everything I want to get out.
Yeah.
We can wrap this up, man, if you want.
That sounds amazing.
All right, we can do a quick Hare Krishna chant and call it a day, motherfucker. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Everybody, with great love, Hare Krishna. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Peace and love.
Peace and the love. Keep doing the great work.
Harness the lightning for higher, even in these very uncertain times.
That is the only work there really is to do. Whether you live or whether you die, you're going to have to do it at some point.
Take care and enjoy the rest of your potato chips that you're eating right now.
What the fuck?